From the KOFI News Team, this is KOFI's Flathead News Weekly, covering the week's top headlines from Kalispell to Columbia Falls, Whitefish to Big Fork, and across northwest Montana.
The Flathead County Planning Board has tabled a thorny ordinance restricting development around Glacier Park International Airport. Hannah Shields reports in the Daily Interlake that the ordinance is intended to create, as mandated by state law, the airport-affected area, a three-layered zone of restrictions on development in compliance with requirements for federal grant funding for the airport that affects more than 30,000 acres in the middle of the Flathead Valley. Restrictions are more limiting the closer a property sits to the airport. The Planning Board agreed with the public that language in the current draft is too ambiguous and will bring up the measure again at the board's July 8th meeting. The proposed Birchwood planned unit development could provide Kalispell with more affordable housing located just off the U.S. Highway 93 bypass. Habitat for Humanity is partnering with private developers to create a 95-home mix of single-family homes, townhouses, and cottages on 21 acres between Northland Drive and the bypass, south of 4 Mile Drive, with 30 of the units being reserved for Habitat for Humanity affordable housing. The rest would likely fetch prices ranging between $350,000 and $800,000. Habitat bought the property in an auction from the Montana Department of Transportation last year. However, a geotechnical report found that the property presents significant concerns for design and construction due to its use as a fill site for MDOT during the construction of the bypass. The report notes that significant engineering considerations will need to be made related to fill management, foundation design, roadway construction, and grading. Noise from the bypass and traffic from the development also raises concerns, but nothing fatal to the project itself. A traffic impact study is currently in the works. The Birchwood planned unit development will come before the Kalispell Planning Commission for a public hearing with all of the latest findings July 14th. Zoe Burmaster reports in the Flathead Beacon that in future meetings, staff will review the subdivision, engineering, parkland, and utilities for the city's recently adopted land use plan established by the Montana Land Use Planning Act. The Birchwood proposal is one of the first major developments to make its way through the new review process. The longtime and lately truant sexton of Conrad Cemetery has passed at a small hospital in Utah. James Korn was the much beloved and much trusted sexton of the esteemed cemetery for decades, but as his health deteriorated in recent years, he became more and more reliant on his less trusted son, Kevin. In the spring of 2025, the two of them disappeared, along with the records necessary to operate the cemetery. Some of those records have been recovered, enough that new sexton Jeff Epperly has the cemetery operational again. And as Jack Underhill reports in the Daily Interlake, that allowed the now late James Jim Korn to be interred next to his wife Nora in the cemetery that Korn so lovingly curated for so long. Swan View Coalition and Friends of the Wild Swan are suing the U.S. Forest Service over the West Reservoir project in the Flathead National Forest, west of Hungry Horse Reservoir. The Forest Service is being accused by the conservationists of sidestepping the Endangered Species Act by putting at risk grizzly bears and bull trout in its efforts to fireproof a section of national forest. The project would include 4.7 miles of new roads, 2,001 acres of logging, and more than 4,600 acres of prescribed burns. The suit was filed in Missoula, where environmentally friendly judges have previously ruled in favor of conservation groups against the Flathead National Forest, including dismissing an earlier appeal by the U.S. Forest Service and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service regarding road building in the project area. James Philip Lawrence, charged with deliberate homicide in the shooting death of 67-year-old Ed Loader of Ronan in September of 2024, was sentenced to 50 years for deliberate homicide and 10 years for tampering with evidence Friday, June 12th. Lake County District Judge Molly Owen stuck to the terms of a plea deal in handing down the sentences and ordered them to be served concurrently. The 71-year-old Lawrence was charged after Loader's body was found in the Twin Lakes Jocko Canyon area outside of St. Ignatius September 6, 2024, and Lawrence waived his Miranda rights, telling investigators, quote, "I'm toast anyways, I guess, so yeah, I did it," unquote. Lake County Sheriff Don Bell said that Lawrence had been cooperative with investigators even before his confession. Investigators learned of a financial motive in the case involving a land dispute stemming from an inheritance of property estimated to be worth millions of dollars, and the shooting followed a heated dispute between Lawrence and Loader over the inheritance. Co-defendant Jonathan Drennan Beck was sentenced May 28th to 20 years in the Montana State Prison on 2 felony counts of tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. Although maintaining his innocence, Drennan Beck also took a plea deal.
That's your Week in Review from the KOFI News Team. Stay connected with us for the latest news affecting the Flathead Valley and Northwest Montana by listening to this podcast, posted every Friday afternoon. Join us again next week for another roundup of the stories that matter to you.